So today I finished my Rivendell review and it's ready to go up, but also I received this in the post. Lightailing has sent me this to review and I could not be more excited. I really wanted to light the setup from day one, and as you guys know, that's kind of what I do with most sets that I'm really proud of. This is the first light kit that I saw, and actually I think it looks really nice. I have to be honest, Lightailing tends not to be the first choice for me. I tend to go with Bricks Max or mostly Game of Bricks. However, because I really kind of looked at how they lit the set up and I really liked it, which is surprising because as you can see they use green and blue lights and I tend not to like that, but for this set I think that's going to make it really magical. So I am so excited to install this. Oh my goodness guys, it's happening! So this is the box. So you've got the instructions, which is always super helpful. There may be a video as well, I'll have to check it out. I had the Lightailing set for my Hogwarts, which had a video, and actually I ended up using the video more than the book because it was a little bit easier to see. But that was also my first light kit, so I wasn't really sure what I was doing. Whereas this time I have installed many, as you can see. So hopefully it'll be easier. And here is the little bubble wrap bag. Hard to do on camera. Oh goodness. Okay. The battery box as usual. I tend just not to use these. I have quite a lot of these now. I just obviously plug them into the mains, so I don't need them. There is two, so that must mean that the amount of USBs that come out of them, because this is Lightailing, they come on strings, you must need two. I should be able to merge it all into one USB and then plug it into the mains, but I'm gonna see what it's gonna be looking like. This is my first reaction, so I don't really know what to expect. This bag is one entire string of lights. So as I've talked about before, Lightailing doesn't do the individual lights. All of the lights are connected, which means that the strings are really thin, and I like that they're white, especially for this set, which is kind of an appeal to me because I think white strings will make it easier to kind of hide them a little bit. But obviously I can't change any of the lights because unless I don't use the entire string, I don't have an option. So that's the first bag. Here you can see some of the colored lights. I think they look really neat, by the way. It's been a while since I've had a Lightailing kit. Also, I'm seeing one of these candle pieces, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm really hoping they have a special flickering effect. I don't know if they will, but I really hope it does. That would be amazing. Okay, then another string here, and a fourth. I think this is not even a string. I think this is just one of those connectors where you plug them both in. So that is good. And then also, which is one of the things I really like, there is one of these tweezer things. So elegant. So you can actually hold the cables more easily and like put them in place easier. Honestly, I thought I'd not need these, and these have actually come in handy, not just like for cables, but sometimes when I drop studs into something, just like grabbing the stud, it's very useful. So perfect. The instructions come in two booklets, which I like because that means that it's going to be easier to lie them flat. And also they always send one of these, which is basically the universal instructions, which show you best practices, what to do, what not to do. Some of these apply to like Bricks Max stuff, because some of them talk about like how you should wire them, which is obviously not something you do when you have Lightailing, but it's really nice to kind of see these instructions, because especially when I was first doing this and never done it before, it's really helpful to get an idea of how they want you to install them, and this can be really like a good learning thing. So very excellent. It's 3 bags, which means 1 bag per individual element of the set. As you know, the Rivendell set comes in 3 parts, so there'll be a lighting kit for those 3 each. This is really interesting actually, and goes to show that I haven't built a Lightailing one for a little while, but they now have icons like these, and this is what they mean. And when I did Hogwarts, they definitely did not have those. So that's really interesting. So there's little icons to tell me what to do if there is an issue, or if there's anything in particular, like dismantle things, or, you know. I'm really interested to see how this build is going to be like, and I can't wait to tell you what I think. So for those that are confused, this is basically what I mean when I say Lightailing comes in a string. So you have the USB at one end, and then you have all the lights connected to each other, so they form a circuit. So this one ventures off in 2 here. Got 3 more lights on there, and then this one ventures off into 1 here, and then they venture off again to 2 here, which will mean that it can go the way they've designed to, but that's basically what I mean. So on this step it tells you to attach this light there, but what I find generally with instructions, it's kind of hard to tell which because it's not the one at the start. So which one is it? So it's this one, but then which way do I put it? And I've figured out by skipping forward in the instructions that it has to be, because you can see this item here and then still lose cables. So we have to connect it like this. So we have the USB plug and these two that side, and then the other smaller black ones on this side. Yes, you could probably argue that kind of is what it looks like anyway, but I find that it's always really good to double check before you apply things. Luckily it's easily fixed, but it's annoying at the end of a chain when you realize you've used the wrong one, so that's why I just double checked. But what I always like to do before I install them is just make sure that they work. So let me just attach this light string into this one. It has batteries in, but the batteries aren't like fully charged anymore, so let's see if that's fine. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we can see that all the lights are working. The first one I attached in there, and then all of these lights as well. These on tiles, and then one green one, which I think I can guess where that's going to go. So let's continue. Okay, I have just installed the first line of lights, and let me just show you what it looks like. I think that is not half bad. Probably my one comment that I have right now is that the interiors are a bit lackluster. Like, they're very bright for what they are, and obviously those individual lights are lit up, but for the price tag I'm not surprised. And actually, because of the way that I display it, which is why I was mostly focused on the exterior, it doesn't really matter, and it's actually kind of light that there's like a bright light is shining out of that house, just because this is how I have it. I'm surprised by how much I think this green light is actually really nice. I really wasn't expecting it, but it does kind of add something to like the platform of it. And then also I really like, so behind each statue is a light. Now, installing these was really fiddly, but I do notice that because I've installed quite a few, things are a little bit easier. I also kind of know what kind of strength the wires can take, and sort of like how I can manipulate the bricks to get them through. I wouldn't say it was easy, but it wasn't as horrible as I've had sometimes, and it's surprisingly nice. The only thing I have to do a slightly better job of is hiding that cable, but I think if I just take the top back off, I can probably wrap it around a brick. I do find that I'm kind of taking this instructions as a bit of a guide, and I'm kind of still using my own judgment as to where I want the lights and how I want to hide the cables. The cables probably around these statues is the one thing that you can see a bit better. Like, you can see the cable coming through there, and sometimes on an angle you can just see behind the statues and you see the cables wrapping around, but it's not super noticeable. And because these are the white cables, it is a bit nicer, because the other ones often have black and red. Yeah, I think it looks really good. I'm really excited. I love that the light shines through where like Bilbo's working. This is going to be special. As you can see, we have a slightly more intimidating string of lights. That one's still folded. But then obviously the building's like twice as big that I'm lighting up. I'm very interested to see how this is going to go. But now for the test, do these flicker, or are they lights that you can't change, that are just lights? Let's turn it on and find out. No flickering. But they are quite nicely like orange, at least. It's like not bad and not good. Admittedly, flickering is kind of like a more special effect, and this, but still, I would have really liked those to have been flickering. That would have made me very happy. I guess I could have looked at the video and find out, but it's hard to tell. But they still look like candles at least, so it's not too bad. Alright, the disassembly of this one was serious. Look how many things I had to take out. Also, so it starts with the candles, which interestingly, you put this like see-through trans-clear brick into it, and then the flame, and that just really wasn't something I was expecting, but I reckon that's going to really help with making the flame look nicer. However, so I've placed the first one, and I'm really not looking forward to how to hide these cables. That's going to be interesting, because look how much like space there is to go, and there is nowhere to hide cables, so that's going to be possibly my least favorite thing. Again, luckily I'm displaying this from the front, so you won't be able to see this too much, but this is probably daunting me, actually. Okay, not going to lie, that was probably the hardest thing I've done for a really long time. Just how open this floor is, to have all these wires I've done my best. I'm not 100% happy with it, but I think from the other side it should be as good as I can get it. And also I think it still works, baby. That was really hard and so fiddly, and I'm really lucky that I've got quite thin hands, so like I was able to reach in relatively easily, and a tool like this tool did really help. But oh my goodness, this is really fiddly. I'll have to rearrange the fellowship in their chairs, but this is pretty special. I quite like, even though you can see the gables on that branch, I quite like that there's a little light up there just to light up the scene in front here. I think that's really ingenious. I like the green here. I think that looks awesome, and it makes the bridge feel more like a bridge actually. Everything is actually really nicely lit up, and I'm pretty hyped. Like, I'm really liking this. This was like a different level to the other one though. This middle one, this was incredibly fiddly, and even just putting things back and stuff was quite hard, and I feel like having nimble thinner hands is definitely going to help with this. But wow. I'm just working on installing this final bit of the set. As you can see, I'm testing the lights as well, but this cable here is causing me a problem because they wanted me to wire it above here, like in kind of shows you there how they want you to do it, but really what that meant, and you can kind of see it here, is you can see the cable at the top, and I just didn't like the way that looked, so I ended up deciding just to run it behind here instead. If I lift it up you won't be able to see it, and because of where I displayed the set, that will probably be a slightly easier solution for me. It may not work for you, but if I just stick it up here with a bit of sticky tape, then you won't be able to see it either way, and I think it's better hidden than the other way, in my opinion, just because I don't see my set from behind when it's on display. So I've decided to go with that solution instead. So ignoring that cable, which I still have to put up with sticky tape, this is actually the place where the cable is most visible. I was kind of expecting that just because of the limitations that they have here with actually hiding them, but yeah, you can definitely see the cable here. I'm not super fussed by it, just because the way I display it, like all you'd see is like this, so I'm okay with it, but yeah, it's not the prettiest, so I just wanted to kind of show you that is what's happening in this little corner. The main downside that I found so far with this one is that because you have lights in the pavilion, the cable comes out here, so you can't lift the pavilion up anymore, which with the other ones, because you don't need to lift anything off, it doesn't even matter, but this is one of the platforms that is now not liftable anymore, but should be good. Let's place it and see what it looks like. Computer, turn on the lights. Oh my goodness. Actually, the candles, though a massive pain, do add a lot. That's quite bright. It's more bright on camera actually, but the blue is really cool. Actually, that is... Can you tell? I mean, yeah, you can see the cables there, but not as obvious. I actually genuinely really love this one. Holy crap, it's so magical. Right, let's place the figures back. So one thing to note, I've connected it at the back using a 3-way USB splitter. So this set actually came with a 2-way splitter and 2 power boxes, as you saw at the very start. So what they really want you to do is have those 2 cables go that way in its separate box and have that cable that way in its box. But because of the way where my power connector is, which is sort of hidden there, for connecting to the mains, I had to kind of have it connected 3 ways and then all go into the one power outlet, Luckily, because I happen to still have one, I could do that, but you can buy those through Base Splitters as well online. Oh my goodness, it looks so good. It looks better from obviously like the proper perspective, but I thought I'd record my thoughts now because I just really want to kind of have, like, record what I'm thinking like right now, because there is so much. So as I said at the very start of this process, I don't usually buy Lightailing. I tend to gravitate to Game of Bricks, which I think is a really good brand for both DIY and set. Also Brixmax, which is kind of similar. However, Lightailing for this one was the first one to come out with the like kit, and because I'm really impatient, I contacted them and asked if I could review it. And since then, other brands have come out with theirs, and I think this one still holds up. The thing that makes me pull the trigger is Lightailing uses white connecting cables, as you saw when I was installing it, whereas the other brands usually, and I don't know if they've changed that for the set, use black connecting cables. That would make hiding the cables so much harder, and because this is so white based, I thought that may be a really good way to hide the cables. The one thing that generally makes me go to full Game of Bricks or Brixmax over Lightailing is because I like to have the individual elements, so I can take lights out that I don't like or add them in a different way. But actually I found, as I was installing this, I could hide the cables pretty well. It didn't matter that they were all on the same circuit. Everything was working perfectly, and it's genuinely so magical. Genuinely in love with it. There were some really tricky moments, as you would have seen in the installation video, I'm not gonna lie, but there's only one bit where you can really see the cables and one bit that was super tricky. So the bit with the candles inside was really tricky, and the bit with the lantern outside by the forge is quite visible cables, but not in a too bad a way. At least I'm not super massively fussed by it, mostly because you can't see very well from how I display it. So I think that's something that you have to judge if that's something that bothers you or not. I'm not gonna lie, $70 isn't cheap, but I think this is really, really worth the magic it brings. And generally, Lightailing does have really good offers very often, so do keep an eye out for those, because you can definitely pick these things up with a discount very often. I would also encourage you to kind of have a look around their site anyway, because the Hogwarts below Rivendell is also a Lightailing like kit set, and I think it looks really cool. I hope you enjoyed this installation video and this sort of brief review. This is mostly just first impressions and just like my thoughts as I was having them when I was installing them, which I felt like probably were the most useful to you. If you have any questions about installing light kits, I've made a few videos about light kits and which brands to go for, what to look out for and stuff like that, so feel free to watch those. Or if you have any actual questions specifically for this one, just let me know. I'll try and answer questions in the comments. But thank you very much for watching. If you do get a like kit for Rivendell, enjoy it. It's magical, but yes, it does make an already very expensive set more expensive, but I feel like it does take it to like the next level. It's legit magical. I'm in love with it. I can't believe how much I like the colours. It's really unlike me to like colours in the light kit, but I do. It's just magic. Alright, I'll leave it here. I'll see you very soon, guys. Bye bye!